This is money. Why is money so hard to hold on to? We trade our best years, our sleep, and our sanity just to get it, only to watch it slip through our fingers like sand. We see the hardest working people on earth stay broke, while others seem to attract wealth without breaking a sweat. It drives some people to trade their integrity, their families, and their souls. But here's the truth. If money could talk, it would tell you things you aren't ready to hear. You see, money doesn't have a pulse. It doesn't care how good your heart is, how many hours you put in, or how much you think you deserve a break. It doesn't reward effort. It rewards positioning. Most people are playing a game where the rules are hidden from them. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain. These are the 5 secrets money has been keeping from you, and once you understand them, the way you see the world will change forever. I didn't learn these secrets in a finance book. I learned them while building my gardening and snowplowing business over a 20-year period. I learned that the real cost of failure isn't losing money, it's losing your peace, time, and energy. Whether you're an entrepreneur or just managing a paycheck, these 5 secrets apply to you. Money only respects discipline. I used to believe money solved problems. I'll never forget one night when we had 25 centimeters of snow. My crews were working around the clock. They were exhausted. Then a truck broke down, and then the backup snowblowers started dying one by one. In a panic, I drove to the supplier, waited for them to open, and dropped $1,500 on a brand new machine just to get the job done. But the truth is this, I didn't buy a snowblower. I bought the illusion of control. I wasn't leading, I was reacting. A disciplined leader would have enforced the maintenance schedules I already had on paper, but I'd become too hands-off. When I stopped holding people accountable, the systems collapsed. I was using money to fix what discipline should have handled. And here's the painful part. Money hides your discipline problems until it can't. A lot of people think if I just earned more, things would be different. No, they wouldn't. I've made more and still ended up broke. I've seen people double their incomes and still live paycheck to paycheck because more money doesn't fix bad habits, it amplifies them. If you're careless, money will expose it. If you're disciplined, money will grow. You don't need more money, you need more control, because money doesn't make you disciplined, discipline makes you money. So, how do you actually start building that discipline? First, track every single cent. You cannot manage what you do not measure. Use an app, a spreadsheet, a notebook. Just stop guessing where your money goes. Second, give every dollar a job before the month starts. That's a budget. If you don't tell your money what to do, your emotions will decide for you. Third, automate your systems. Set up automatic transfers to your savings or investments the second your paycheck hits. Don't rely on willpower. Rely on your setup. Fourth, master your schedule. A chaotic life leads to expensive convenience. Pre-plan your week and stick to a routine. When you control your time, you stop making panic purchases to save it. And fifth, learn to say no to yourself. Discipline is simply the ability to choose what you want most over what you want now. Fix your discipline and you fix your money problems. Fix your discipline and you attract wealth naturally. Money doesn't want you to know this secret because when you live a disciplined life, money is naturally attracted to you. Do me a favor and smash that like button. The next truth explains why most people never escape the trap. Money doesn't buy freedom. It never did. I spent my whole life building my gardening company. At my peak, I thought I was winning. We were approaching $1 million in annual revenue. Everyone saw me as a successful entrepreneur, but I was trapped. Every dollar I had was tied up in my business, and I had zero time. I once went 67 straight days without a single day off. Not because I wanted to, but because everyone needed something from me. Every phone call was another demand. A truck broke down, someone didn't show up, a client was upset, a crew needed direction. I couldn't go an hour without someone needing a piece of me. I didn't own my business owned me. That's not freedom, that's a cage. People think money equals freedom. They're wrong. Money can buy you freedom of movement. You can fly private instead of commercial, but it doesn't buy freedom of mind. I've seen millionaires living in the same prison as everyone else. Bigger houses, fancier cars, but more stress than their lowest paid employee. They just built a fancier cage. Don't ever envy people just because they have more than you. You don't know what they sacrificed to get it, and you don't know if they're actually free. Their fortune might be their prison. But freedom has nothing to do with your bank balance. Freedom is control. Control of your time, your attention, your peace. And here's the good news, freedom isn't complicated. To be free, don't chain yourself to a business you hate or a job that drains your soul. Don't stay in a routine that feels like a cage. Build a life around a routine you can actually live with. Say no to anything that steals your time, your energy, and your peace. Say yes to structure, say yes to boundaries, say yes to the version of you that protects your time like it's money. Because at the end of the day, freedom isn't bought, it's managed. That's the harsh truth about freedom. Most people don't lose it because they're trapped. They lose it because they never learned to protect it. Money doesn't want you to know the secret because now you won't fall into the trap of choosing jobs you hate and building businesses that drain your soul in the pursuit of wealth. Remember this, your freedom is more valuable than money. If you don't control your emotions, money will. I've worked 100-hour weeks many times in my life, 14 to 15-hour days, 7 days a week, completely unhealthy and unsustainable. There's tired and then there's soul tired, the kind of exhaustion no amount of sleep can fix. When you wake up drained, not from work, but from carrying the invisible weight of your own mistakes. I once rehired a bad employee because I was exhausted and desperate. I told myself, everyone deserves a second chance, except sometimes they don't. I retrained him on areas that I thought he was weak in, and for 2 months, everything looked fine. Then, I got a call from the police. They sent me a dash cam photo and told me that my truck was involved in a hit and run. In a city full of cameras, at a major intersection, this guy hits a car and decides to take off like he was in a Fast and the Furious movie, and guess who brought him back into the company? Me. Not because it was smart, but because I was tired, because I was emotional, because I wasn't thinking clearly. I remember those months vividly, smiling through exhaustion, pretending I was fine while every part of me was running on empty. I kept showing up, acting strong, pushing harder, because that's what you do when you don't know what else to do. But when you're burned out, you start making emotional decisions. You hire people out of panic. You overpay because you're desperate. You say yes to jobs you should walk away from. You convince yourself that working harder will fix what discipline couldn't. It never does. I learned something during those sleepless nights. Money doesn't just test your habits, it tests your nerves. Someone once said to me, Ryan, when I see money, my eyes light up. And it made me uncomfortable. Not because excitement is wrong, but because that's how temptation starts. There's nothing wrong with wanting more money, but if money can move your emotions that easily, it can control your decisions. And once money starts steering you, it'll drive you into chaos. Money punishes emotions. It punishes pride, fear, and desperation. When you lead from emotion instead of clarity, money disappears quietly, one mistake at a time. Control your emotions or money will. People who commit crime, lie, steal, or sell pieces of their soul for money usually end up trading way more than the money is worth. How to control your emotions so money doesn't take advantage of you. First, never make a major financial decision when you're soul tired. If you're exhausted, your brain is looking for the fastest exit, not the best one. Sleep on it. If it's a good deal today, it'll be a good deal tomorrow. Second, identify your emotional triggers. Do you spend when you're stressed? Do you over leverage when you're feeling behind? Know your patterns so you can catch the emotion before it touches your wallet. Third, use the 48-hour rule. For any non-essential purchase or major hire, wait 48 hours. This allows the dopamine hit of the idea to fade, leaving you with cold, hard logic. Fourth, focus on the why behind the trade. If you're tempted to trade your integrity or your peace for a check, ask yourself, what is the real price 5 or 10 years from now? Because if the cost is your soul, the profit is never high enough. The middle class isn't safety, it's a trap. The secret money is hiding from you is this. Your stability is just a lack of options. Money doesn't want you to know that the middle class is the engine of the debt economy. If you feel safe, you stop growing your skills and start upgrading your lifestyle. The system wants you comfortable enough to keep paying interest, but fragile enough that you can never afford to quit. I grew up believing the middle class was the goal. A house, a steady income, a decent car, stability. It seems like the perfect goal to strive toward. But here's the reality no one wants to face. The middle class is the most dangerous financial position of all. It looks responsible, it looks stable, but most of the time, It's just a comfortable version of broke. People living in, rundown apartments will work hard for a nice house, a better car, thinking they're upgrading to a better life, but they're really just upgrading to a better lie. I know that because I lived it. I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I wasn't blowing money on designer clothes or fancy dinners, but every time a problem popped up in my business and life, I spent my way out of it. New gear, new trucks, new upgrades, new hires. I told myself it was smart reinvestment, that it was progress, but it wasn't progress. It was reaction. It was comfort disguised as responsibility. It was me rewarding myself because I was stressed. And that's how the middle class trap works. You earn more, so you spend more. You work harder, so you justify the upgrade. You feel pressure, so you buy relief. A nicer car, a better kitchen, a bigger vacation. Little by little, you build a cage that looks beautiful, but it locks from the inside. I've seen the trap swallow people whole. Millionaires, yes, millionaires who looked untouchable. One bad year, and they were done. Divorce, illness, slow season. I watched one rich client lose everything, the mansion, the cars, the status, all gone. Another one had to sell his home that he lived in for 30 years to pay for his divorce. They weren't reckless, they weren't stupid, they were comfortable. And comfort killed their hunger. Comfort killed their discipline. Comfort killed their ability to adapt. The middle class isn't safe, it's fragile. Because when your lifestyle depends on everything going perfectly, you're one broken transmission, one job loss, one injury, one bad month away from watching it all collapse. A gardener I knew couldn't run his business anymore because he broke his leg at the peak of his busy season. How to avoid the trap? The only real security in this world isn't comfort, it's capability. First, live below your means, but above your standards. Don't expand your lifestyle every time your income grows. Keep your overhead low so you have the FU money to walk away from a bad situation. Second, dream bigger than your paycheck. If your only goal is stability, you'll stop growing the moment you feel safe. Dream of impact, dream of legacy, goals that keep you hungry even when your belly is full. Third, invest in skills, not just assets. They can take your house, your job, and your savings, but they can't take your ability to rebuild from zero. Jim Rohn said it best: learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Capability is the only real safety. Capability is the only real wealth. Don't click away, because the final secret is the one that will haunt you the most. And this last truth isn't about money at all. It's about what you'll wish you had more of when it's gone. Time is the only real currency. Money just rents it. Money wants you to believe it's the most valuable thing in the world, so you'll keep selling your limited time to get more of it. If you truly understood how valuable your time was, you would never trade 50 hours a week for a lifestyle you're too tired to enjoy. As I've gotten older, I've grown more careful with how I spend my time. I value it above money, because money can buy almost everything except more time. I was working for a client named Neil, and I said to him one day, "Hey Neil, how are you doing?" He looked at me, smiled, and said, "Well, I'm old." And we both laughed. Later he showed me his Harley sitting in his garage, still in mint condition. He told me about the days when he used to ride, and now he goes to the doctor every week for dialysis. He told me he gotten shorter, weaker, and then he looked at me and he said, "You're a big guy." I'm not. I'm 5'9", 160 pounds on a good day. And that's when it hit me. Neil wasn't just old, he was going blind. He knew he was running out of time. You don't have all the time in the world to live the life you want, but it's never too late to start, never too late to save, to dream, to take one risk that moves your life forward. I've lost tens of thousands of dollars on bad equipment, hundreds of thousands of dollars on bad investments. I've been ripped off by clients and betrayed by people I trusted, but none of that money matters anymore. I don't even think about it. The only thing I regret is the time I wasted. Time spent on things that didn't move me forward. Time spent entertaining people who were pulling me backward. Anything that wastes your time is noise, and noise steals your life in small pieces. The final secret is this: money isn't the real budget, time is. You're not spending money, you're spending time disguised as money. If you work a job you hate or live in a state of constant anxiety over a paycheck, you're not just losing money, you're losing your life. Every hour you trade for $1 is a withdrawal from a time bank account that never gets a deposit. Money can buy comfort, but it cannot buy peace. 20 years can disappear just like that. And you'll never understand how expensive time really is until you start running out of it. The question isn't how much do you earn or how much money do you want to make. The question is, what are you spending your life on? Stop letting money keep these secrets from you, because once you know the truth, you can't go back to being a prisoner. Subscribe and keep these secrets close. But if you know someone else who is trapped, send this video to them. Tell them that you know money's secrets. Shh.